Hello, MouseHunt. Welcome to Feedback Friday. Today is April 14th, 2023. Hope everyone in the chat is doing well. My name's Dave. Thank you so much for joining us. A couple people were saying the music was a little low. I did turn it up a little bit. I apologize though. Arctic in the chat goes, oh my ears. Welcome everybody. Hello, Nathan, Schmidt, Jason, Lynn, Diamond, Arctic, Jericho, hello, Sri, KDM, Dark Flax, Kyle Hunt, Param, hello to you in the chat. Nia, Tim, Tyler, Generic Potato, holy smokes, we've got a whole lot of hunters. There's 80 hunters hanging out with us at the moment. Maybe that's good to just get straight down to it, because today we are going to talk a little bit about an upcoming expansion to the Folklore Forest called the Bountiful Beanstalk. We're going to take our first peek at it, let you know what to expect. Maybe if there's anything you need to prepare ahead of time, even just kind of touch base a little bit what our plan is for the pre-release as well. And I'll bring Dev Norm in shortly, and we'll kind of go over how the pre-release is going to roll out. That said, there's going to be a few mysteries to solve along the way. But here's what we're going to kind of go over today about the Bountiful Beanstalk. It is an expansion to the Folklore Forest region, so we'll be adding a fourth environment to that region. It is going to be the kingdom's first location with a viceroy requirement, so it will be the highest title hunting location in the entire game. Clay, I like the comment, spill the beans. There, how did we not think of that? We usually like to think of some puns ourselves, and we're going to be spilling a few beans today, but we're not going to spill all the beans. That's it. It's time for me to hunt. Let's see how this goes. Actually, hold on. I got to change my setup. 1 second. 1 second here. It's the egg hunt. I'm going to go back to the cursed city. Got to change my power type. And we can place bets on if a dark magi mouse is going to come to my trap during Feedback Friday. We'll see how that pans out. Dave, you forgot to count me in. Well, hello to you as well, Math. Nice to see you in the chat, as always. You're saying, oh, Valor Rift 2.0 is real. Not quite. So you're going to be hunting on the seamlessly endless beanstalk in preparation for exploring the castle in the clouds. Utilize numerous types of cheese to stir up some noise and control some loot multipliers. So it's going to kind of almost think a little bit like the first three areas in the region. There was a lot of kind of your loot would go higher and higher and higher. And this kind of draws a little bit of inspiration from that as well to kind of give you a little bit of a hint of what's to come. But you'll even get a few more hints when you're able to get a hold of the map piece ahead of time. And as we often do, that's what the pre-release is going to be all about, a way for hunters to get their hands on the map piece ahead of time. And it'll be a little bit of a journey to go through there. Nid, welcome on in, like the beans in the chat. That's a good segue. I'll bring in Dev Norm to join me here, who's been spearheading the project. And we'll get into a little bit about the Bountiful Beanstalk pre-release. Hi, Norm. Hope you're still doing well.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me on the show, Dave. Always a pleasure.
Anytime, always welcome. But yeah, what can you tell us about the Bountiful Beanstalk pre-release?
The pre-release, well, I'm very excited about it. So as you know, like last year, we had a fun community mystery. It was a bit of an experiment. We weren't really sure how it was going to go, but it was so much fun watching the community like pool their resources and their in figuring out the steps, which admittedly were extremely vague in the beginning, but yeah, it was a great experience, and generally the feedback we got was very positive. So this time around, it is a mystery, as Dave has mentioned. It's a bit more elaborate than it was last time. We took some of the feedback and we expanded upon some things, and we leveraged some of the in-game mechanics, which is that it will involve a very special scavenger hunt. So I don't want to give out too many details, but hopefully that should whet the appetite a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think, let us know in the chat what your sentiment was. If you're around when the original Folklore Forest, those first three areas were released, you might remember that mystery as kind of a community mystery to be solved. Seemed like we had a lot of positive response to that. A lot of hunters had fun with it. And then once the mystery was solved, we were able to kind of share the result with everybody else. Yeah, Diamond likes
Yeah,
mysteries.
overall, it seemed like a good experience.
Yeah, and so, now that we saw that was a positive
So hopefully,
response, it
hopefully,
was
like
okay.
this.
Maybe we're onto something there. I was able to put a little bit more time into fleshing it out further, polish things up a little bit more. Even just this morning, I was playing through it again, and I had a smile on my face, Nora, while I was going through it, actually. There's a lot of more kind of whimsical finishing touches put on it, so kind of excited to see it go out, and hopefully hunters feel the same way.
Yeah, yeah, I had a lot of fun putting it together. Even just coming up with a narrative for it and writing some of the clues was a lot of fun. So hopefully you enjoy it as much as I did.
Actually, now here's a question for you. Have we classified it as a event style map or category?
Yes,
Okay, so you
yes, it
will
is.
need that like slot free basically to start the scavenger hunt. Okay, so if you're holding on
Yeah,
to any sort of event themed map, if you have one left over from the winter hunt or something, you'll have to claim the consolation prize because you'll need that slot free. Basically, you're doing an event scavenger map in it that takes up the slot, but don't worry, the regular type of maps, you can be on multiple maps at the same time. So you can, if you're doing a lightning map, if you're doing a relic hunter map, if you're doing, whatever standard style map there is, all good. You don't need to finish that. It's just the event maps, right? You have one tab for every classification of map. This one's classified as event map. It says
yeah,
Norm's a little
and that
hard to
was an
hear.
important.
Let me turn you up a little, Norm.
Yeah,
Hold on.
can you turn me up? Yeah, I don't have that power. Dave's on the soundboard.
There you go. I'll turn you up by
But yeah,
50%.
so testing, testing. Is that any better? I'll try to use my professional voice. Hello, everyone. Does that sound any better?
That's better. All right. Beautiful. Much better.
Excellent.
Fantastic. All right. Norm, you're coming in loud and clear
Yeah,
now.
yeah. But yeah, the event map thing was it was an important decision because if the pre-release drops and you happen to be still working on a lightning map or something like that, you're not going to want to have to abandon that obviously, but then you're also, if you're interested in participating in the pre-release, you're not going to want to get left behind. So now it's sort of the best of both worlds, and it's fortunately there's no like spring hunt event maps, so most people I don't imagine are going to have a lingering event map, so
Yeah,
it shouldn't
I
be an
think
issue
it'll
for too
work
many
out
people.
okay. Karen in the chat. Hey, nice to see you, Karen. Hope you're doing well. Has a great question. Can ranks lower than Viceroy get the new map piece during the pre-release like they could for the Folklore Forest?
Yes, it's Archduke, Archduke, Archduchess, and above. And the reasons for that will become obvious once the pre-release drops. But yeah, mainly because the first step of the journey is, begins in an Archduke, Archduchess location.
One of those zones, eh? Yeah, so you will, to be able to do the pre-release, you will need to be Archduke, Archduchess. And then even when the pre-release is all done, very similar to what how the last mystery worked, there's an alternative. There's a different way to get the map sort of permanently, forever going forward. So obviously, if someone's not around during that 2-week pre-release or however long a pre-release goes for, they still need to be able to get the map, and that would also be available in an Archduke zone as you'd expect. So kind of similarly, the pre-release starts off having an Archduke requirement. Theta in the chat asking, will it be a solo map or a group map?
Well, I guess we can reveal that it's a solo map.
Yeah, and that just makes
One
sense.
person
Otherwise, it would be very
Yeah.
awkward going through it to get the reward in such a way, I would think. So it doesn't need a solo
Yeah,
map.
well, exactly. That's the thing is, right? Yeah, because whoever got one of the clues, well, that meant the other person couldn't get the rewards that were associated with that. So this way, at least everybody who participates on the map gets all the rewards that are associated with that.
I will say, although it is a scavenger map, it's themed up to be a lot more whimsical than your average scavenger map. So it's going to feel like you're doing something else entirely, but we thought it would be good to share. Like, there's a direction we went in, so you kind of know what to look for when the pre-release does land, and a little bit of a heads up just in case somebody was holding on to some event map in a slot that, well, you're going to have to claim that consolation prize. So it's kind of good to get that info out there as well. Math with a amazing pun in the chat. This is what we've all been looking forward to. Norm, we got time. You have to add a lot more bean puns now. I think there's unrealized potential that we haven't
Oh boy.
squeezed
All
out of
right.
this area. All right.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Hey, I've still got another task coming up to sort of take another pass at all the writing. So I'll just every third word will be bean. How about that? Is that good enough?
Hey, I don't know. Been there, done that. Maybe think of something else.
Wah, wah.
Oh, I saw a good question. Where did it go here? Actually, there's a couple good questions that'll
See,
be
someone
good.
said step.
Sorry, what's that?
Oh, is it someone with step one is get a shelter egg? How did you guys figure it out? Oh man.
Of course, of course.
It's almost a mystery.
Someone asking when the pre-release is going to begin. Not quite ready to announce an official date. We'll just, in the vague sense, it's almost ready. Soon. When
Stay
it's
tuned.
almost there. And that might be. I see a couple questions in the chat about power types, about Nobel prizes. That might be a good segue to get into how to prepare best for the arrival of the beanstalk. So let's switch over here to the next thing I got here, and that's how to be preparing for the beanstalk's arrival. And as I already mentioned, the area is going to require the rank of Viceroy or above, so if you're still Archduke or below, you've got some time to try to level up as quickly as you can, but otherwise, don't worry, the area will be there waiting for you when you level up as well. And there were questions about power types. And hopefully there's a giant picture of a sword in the background. And that should be pretty apparent about the power type. But what kind of setup do you think would be good to be starting the beanstalk with, Norm?
Well, I'll just say I wouldn't want to go in there without the charming prince bot. That would be your best bet to
Is that what
earn
you've
the
been
take the
playing
time
kind of
to
while
earn the
developing the
charming
area?
prince bot. Yes, absolutely. And the charming prince bot was meant to not be a super above and beyond goal. Unlike say something like some of the floating island traps were very above and beyond. That's how they were designed, right? Where the charming prince bot was always meant to be attainable as long as you finish the area. So that's we balance the upcoming area with that in mind. That you are meant to get the prince bot for the most part before you start climbing the stock.
Yeah, it nicely then leads into if you achieve all there is to do at the first three areas in the Folklore Forest, you're well set up to take on the beanstalk. We probably won't go into a whole lot of detail here. The golden quill will be advantageous. I think I did spell advantageous right. I was struggling there. That's my Achilles heel.
Yeah, we went over this yesterday. Yeah, remember, always just go to dictionary.com, copy, and paste. That's when in doubt.
Of course. But, we'll stress that it isn't a complete game changer. You can do the beanstalk, surely, without the golden quill. Would you say, Norm?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's not. It's certainly not a requirement by any stretch. It's just those who have, gone above and beyond to acquire that will get a benefit for it.
Yeah,
But
that'd be great.
you
but
won't
certainly it doesn't
miss out on anything if you don't have it.
Yeah, and that doesn't gate the area. You can still go to the beanstalk without it. You can still, catch mice, gather loot.
Yeah.
You can achieve plenty at the beanstalk, but if if you really want to get everything that you can out of the beanstalk, that golden quill will be advantageous.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's like there's nothing in the beanstalk that you cannot do or interact with having not had the golden quill. It's just, there might be something that's better, better if you do. Put it that way.
What kind of prestige base have you been playing with, or what base have you had equipped while developing the area?
Well, obviously I test with a lot of different setups, and and charms are an important thing to keep in mind as well, right? Because you're going to use different charms at different stages of the area, or at least perceivably anyway. When you're hunting more powerful mice or more valuable cheese, you're probably going to want to have better charms. But all that said, prestige. I generally I like to play test with mine, but I typically balance for maybe like a 12 or 13 prestige, something along those lines.
Yeah.
So basically it's like you can go in with a jewel base, but you're going to be a bit underpowered if you just have the jewel base.
And like anything else, you can kind of
you can
compensate
always
a bit.
supplement that with charms.
Yeah, with charms, you can augment that a bit, and there's good opportunities I feel, would you say, to pull out some heavy hitter charms during critical moments, and then kind of switch down to a less powerful charm during other moments?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, remember too that like with the first three Folklore Forest areas, I think as part of the treasure map release, we introduced the new Rainbow Spore charms, and then later with Halloween, the Rift Rainbow Spores. So and some of the rewards of that area and like the Magnum Opus, we're getting some of those charms. So like people who have played a decent amount of the table of contents or like the first three areas in general will probably have a nice little stash of those charms. And when you're in situations, you can bring out those heavy hitters. Of course, they're not going to be the charm you use all the time because they're far too valuable for that. But if you're in a situation where you're facing a tough mouse or you've got a
Make
valuable
every hunt
cheese,
count.
you have those items at your disposal.
Potato in the chat's wondering if anyone
Exactly.
is able to tackle this with the Swiss Army mouse trap. I'm going to say that would be a very unfun experience. When you say,
Yeah, I mean, hey, it depends on your definition of fun,
go,
I
yeah, to each
suppose.
their own.
I wouldn't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and Naf in that chat saying you can do anything if you can handle that 10% catch rate. So I don't even know if you'd be able to get 10% with a Swiss Army. It'd be a little underpowered. And hopefully that kind of at least touch on it. Is it a tough area? It's a Viceroy area. The mice there are challenging. But I think the first three areas set you up very well to give you all the tools in the toolbox you need to help subdue those giants.
Mm-hmm.
And as it is in the
Yeah,
Folklore
absolutely.
Forest
And
as well.
like with a lot of areas, there's. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, like with a lot of areas, there are varying degrees of difficulty within the area, between different phases and situations, right? So it's not just like, oh, hey, all the mice are this difficulty and that difficulty. Is like it's a scale, right? And sure, like as you get to the more climactic moments, the mice are going to be more of a challenge, right? And then it should feel good and appropriate to bring out a heavy hitter charm for those kind of situations.
Yeah, and that's kind of the fun part of being able to choose when to use which charm and pull that out. And during different phases, you kind of get different opportunities. And being in the Folklore Forest region, noticed a couple comments in the chat about condensed creativity. Will be useful here, and that's kind of the useful item throughout the region. At least that's the plan, seeing how things go. So you'll be able to put your condensed creativity to use here as well. And two, worth noting in context to the pre-release, maybe this number changes, but this is where we have it right now. So if you don't participate in the pre-release, the map piece will be available in the cartographer, and you can purchase it for 1,000 Nobel prizes. And I believe you also need to complete the Mythweaver adventure, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's the current plan for how down the road you'll get the map piece. So during the pre-release, if you kind of solve the mystery and do all there is to do, you'll be able to save those 1,000 Nobel prizes. You'll be able to earn the map piece ahead of time and find probably a few other useful rewards along the way that might come in handy once the area starts. Or just a little extra bonus here and there to be found as well.
Absolutely.
Mud in the chat. We think it's Jacob, has a beautiful pun. This environment, yeah, it's an interesting environment to be hunting in. Will there be cool beans during the Great Winter Hunt? Asks Karen. We can just have tons of fun with some bean themes, eh?
Oh, that's a really good one, actually. Wow.
One pun at a time here. Uh-oh. Nafya's wondering just how big are these giants? They seem pretty big, but a little bit gets left to everyone's imagination at the same time.
Yeah, you'll find out soon.
Again, asking, will we be touching on the rewards for the areas? I think we might save that for another Feedback Friday, probably one that would occur during while the pre-release is out. We might be able to get into some of the rewards you can expect. But being a Viceroy area, maybe we'll just kind of leave it open to speculation. There's probably some good stuff, some best stuff to be found. That's better than other things. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, that's the rewards are best stuff. That's what we got. That's it.
Yeah, best stuff.
Best stuff item. Yeah.
Cool. Lynn asking, do we have a date for the pre-release? Someone asked a little bit earlier as well. Not quite. We're just making sure everything's just right before we commit to an exact date, but it is awfully close. I mean, the egg hunt's winding down. We wouldn't want to start this while the egg hunt is going, so kind of you can't, maybe that sets a minimum at least. I don't think we want to start the pre-release until the egg hunt wraps up. But, all according to, or all dependent on how everything wraps up. Gotta do a little final testing, make sure everything's all set. We got all the ducks in a row, all of our beans in a row. Can we say that? I don't know. Do we just make a new expression? Sure.
Sure, why not? Yeah. Yeah.
In this segue as well, often what comes up when a new area is coming is the number of mice that are going to be included. Do we have any guesses in the chat, maybe, before we slide on over to a few mice? And if you're the type that doesn't like to see mice before you capture them, I'll warn you, in a minute we're going to switch over. There will be 3 mice on the screen, so avert your eyes. For a while if you don't want to see the mice, but we're going to show 3 of the mice.
Couple of new items on that slide too, I think. Maybe
some exciting items. Guesses all over the place, ranging from I would just see from 5 to 45. That's a pretty good spread. A lot of guesses, a couple in the 30s. That's probably the warmest because the answer is somewhere between the number of 32 and 34. I don't want to give it away, but between 32 and 34.
Yeah, we can't spoil it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's 33 new mice coming in the Bountiful Beanstalk, and there are some absolutely amazing characters to be found. That is for sure.
Oh yes, yeah. Some of these mice were just so fun to write descriptions for, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's fun. There's lots of different, kind of as we were talking about earlier. There's different phases to the area, and so that's always nice. It adds a large variety of mice because there's a theme and a narrative for every one of these phases that you go through. I'm sure you can think of other areas that have different, zones and phases and, different spots you're hunting within the area, and all the mice have a consistent theme, or, they use a similar color palette, or they all have the same kind of, background to their character. Sally in the chat asking, will we get to toot our horns more since we're using the musical fruit, which are beans? we're getting into the flatulence humor already. Uh-oh, what have we done?
Yeah.
What have we opened up? I thought we left that behind with
bottled wind all over again.
Floating Islands. But...
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we're all spilling the beans. There's a few. These are probably the final beans we're going to spill today. Is a few mice that are coming with the beanstalk. Nafi in the chat saying, I don't care about the other 32. Give me that saxophone player.
Yeah, honestly, might be my favorite, or at least among my favorites. I don't like to play favorites, but oh man, that one is epic. Didn't we have another slide with the cheeses on it, or no?
Yes, we did. And heads up, I think they can hear you but not see you. We'll go back one real quick. Yeah, they should still be able to hear you, but they can't see you. Norm's been replaced with beans and cheese, so these are some of the beans and the cheese. And another pretty cool and important item way off to the side there as well, off in the corner. Oh, Vassie in the chat saying it will be a fun to play area we haven't been to yet. I don't know how we didn't notice this opportunity for puns. I'm kind of disappointed in us for not. I mean, usually we're all over puns.
Right. Yeah, I know. I'm ashamed. I know. What can I say?
Dark Flocks in the chat asking, what's coming after the spring egg hunt? You're in luck, because that is pretty well the entire topic of today's Feedback Friday. I hopefully that will be very obvious looking around. Bastian has 45% more Archduke to get through first. Getting there. You'll be able to do the pre-release, though. So Archduke, you'll be able to participate in. It's kind of similar to the original launch of the Folklore Forest. A bit of a community mystery to be solved and earn the map piece ahead of time. And that'll have an Archduke requirement, but the area itself will have a Viceroy requirement. Nid can't believe we've been slacking that much on puns. Oh dear. We got to up our game a little bit. You could say we've been slacking off. Yeah, beautiful, Nid. Oh boy. I missed it. It blended right in. Perfect. I was going to spam some bait keep as usual. Some bait keeps would be probably handy, but that said, you do hunt with the type of cheese quite a bit, so I think you might burn through them a little bit quicker than you'd be comfortable doing.
Yeah, I'd say they're probably not as useful as say they were in the table of contents, right? Where initially it was all about like getting that final draft was was the first hurdle. So obviously having the bait keeps was a big advantage. I'd say it's not quite the same. It's not quite the same.
There's some other items other than cheese that sort of limit how often you can be around certain spots.
Yeah. Not to mention some of these mice are, as I said, they're more of a challenge, right? We're in a viceroy area now, so especially as you get to the more valuable cheeses, where you're probably more likely to want to use the bait keeps. The mice will, they have something else in mind for you. So
Yeah, Kevin asks, time to rewrite those descriptions to put more bean puns in. Well, yeah, you have to. That's it. Final
there's still
editing
time.
copy
There's
here.
still time. There's still time. Yeah.
Matt asking if the points on the mice will increase relevant to the title. Of course, right? This is kind of slightly higher point and gold earning potential being a higher title. He's asking for a cameo from Mr. Bean. We can only hope he's a mouse hunter.
I can't believe I never thought of that.
Yeah.
I can't believe I never thought of that. Wow, that's a good one.
I think a few hunters have different things on their mind that you might find high up in the clouds, perhaps sailing through the clouds, but, alas, no word from her. Karen says, I want beans on toast for some reason. I'm getting hungry. Whenever we start talking about like queso geyser, I get hungry for barbecue and ribs. That's going to make you hungry for some beans or something. You're camping, you get the can and you heat it up on the fire. I always feel like I get to eat just a little bit of the can that day, so, don't make a habit out of it. And a few hunters too noticing a couple items underneath you there, Norm. Okay, maybe can you give any little bit of hints about what those might be?
Yeah. So those are, well, I mean, anyone who's familiar with the tale of Jack and the Beanstalk might recognize the golden goose and the golden goose egg. Both are rather valuable items in the castle in the clouds.
Patrick, I think
Yeah, one thing I'll say is I was quite pleased.
Oh, go ahead.
One thing I was really pleased about how the design came together is that there are quite a few aspects of the story that we were, able to incorporate in fun ways that made sense, like mechanically and thematically and stuff like that. So I'm quite pleased with how some of those things came together.
Yeah, it was fun kind of seeing all the different iterations. It might even be something good to share, kind of like with Folklore Forest. Actually, we were just kind of watching through some of the Feedback Fridays when Folklore Forest came out, and it's like concept art and everything. That might be kind of fun to dig into, maybe on another Feedback Friday before the area comes out, and kind of just or maybe after it comes out, you can see the iterations of kind of where it started and where it ended up. And it just kind of goes to show you just kind of keep peeling back layers of the onion and keep polishing, whatever metaphor you want to use, and find the best version of something. And it all came together quite well.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, maybe a week or two after it releases, then we can show off some of the concept art and people can have an idea of where it came from, how it started, and that kind of thing.
Even the floating islands, I think we did something similar. Look at the journey of its development. I feel like that one was in the works for years. It would always bubble back up to the surface. Yeah. We'd workshop it for a bit, and that's not quite right, and we'd kind of go back into the back burner, and something else would take its place. Went through lots of iterations, and this kind of not as many, but went through a few iterations.
Yeah, one maybe fun fact about this one is that the original prototype for this actually came before the prototype for the first three areas of the Folklore Forest.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes, the beanstalk was like the first idea, and actually, I this is a while ago now, I guess, but I sat down with you and we played through it, and I think it was actually your suggestion, like this area needs more of an intro. Like the region, sorry, needs more of an intro, and that's where we came up with the idea of the forward farm and the prologue pond, and introducing this sort of like we're going into the folklore of Narnia kind of thing. So yeah, this was the first. I mean, it's very very different from the first prototype, mind you, but the concept was the first one. So.
Yeah, it might be fun to play some of the prototypes and share those. I think we've done that once or twice. Some other areas, even the Valor Rift, I remember like showing the prototype of that and how it kind of morphed as we put it together.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, it would be fun. Actually, now after all this development time, to go back and then see it, and because the original I just sort of whipped together in JavaScript fairly quickly, but it'd be interesting to see how it developed.
Yeah, Joel asking, is it anywhere near the floating islands? Could we take our dirigible there? Alas, you have to go through the Folklore Forest to get there. And yeah, for the most part, we're not kind of planning on adding new dirigible cosmetics, especially past the point of the floating island. So this kind of comes after it in your adventure. And so probably won't be adding any dirigible cosmetics. We did look to round out the set and make one for every recurring event that's in the game. So kind of maybe done adding those, at least for now. And I don't think we would add them in areas that, like I said, came after the floating islands did.
Yeah, yeah. We put one in the Folklore Forest areas because it was sort of a lateral move, right? Is that you could potentially go into the first three areas before finishing the Floating Islands event, adventure. So it felt like it was sort of similar. But now, yeah, now this sort of moved on to Viceroy. It's a bit of a different thing.
Can we see the castle from the floating islands? I'm sure on a clear day from a floating island, you could see clear across Narnia. You could probably spot that iceberg drifting out there in Rodentia. No problem. Matt asking, will be their giveaway this year? Hoping for another shot at the leprechaun. Well, they are always out there, right? They're just a little bit more abundant during a giveaway. We're gonna see if we can make it. It's just a matter of just the time to get it done, right? There's only so many hours in the day. So it can be tricky, but it's in the back of our minds. That might be something we might be able to do, but no promises. There's no definite plans right now. Well, Bastian, wondering if this is where the golden quill came from. I guess there are a lot of golden treasures up in that castle, but it was a golden goose quill.
Could be. Actually, quills traditionally were made from goose feathers, so who knows?
Oh, asking if there were any new bases or traps. I think we'll probably get into the rewards of the area probably once the pre-release is out. Probably we'll do a feedback Friday and can do a little sneak peek at what there's going to be to learn. That said, being the first Viceroy area, you can probably expect something that's top of the line, something that's the best of the best. So we'll kind of see how hunters interpret that, and that might be even interesting food for thought to see if it aligns with what we've put together.
Yeah, someone in the chat mentioned, I didn't see who it was earlier, best in stuff. So
yeah, best in stuff.
We get some best in stuff. Yeah.
Almost sounds like the word slot, doesn't it? But no, stuff. Okay.
Almost.
You trade those beans for a cow there? So you're asking, will we be able to obtain condensed creativity here? Is it still from the table of contents? Maybe Norm, can you speak to, will there be condensed creativity in the Bountiful Beanstalk?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think pretty much any area like the that analogous item is something you can earn, whether bottled wind and champions fire, all those things. Typically you can earn them through the area. So yeah, definitely like some mice will drop them on occasion. I can't speak to
would
quantities
you say,
or chances or whatever, but absolutely, yeah.
And would you say like other areas, there's even thinking back to the Folklore Forest, the original three areas there's moments where it's very advantageous to use it, so you can kind of use it strategically. Would you say kind of the Beanstalk has a similar theme to it?
Yeah, so actually, I would say even more so than in the previous areas. So I think one thing that I personally like about the role of condensed creativity in this area is that it ties very well with the mechanics, and yeah, you can use it in very strategic ways. It's not just like, oh well, there will probably be some times where you just sort of like always want to turn it on, or some situations which are more obvious, but then there'll be some situation where it's very situational of like, oh, given this factor and that factor and that factor. Oh, now's a great time to use condensed creativity, and I'm trying not to give too much away, but you can manipulate the mechanics of the area in a specific way to be advantageous to you based on your current situation. That's really super vague. I don't know if that's helpful at all, but yes, it is. It's more strategic, I think, than it was in the first 3 areas.
Yeah. Now, if you would like the prestige base to stop being the best base, well, maybe you could elaborate on the why. Often that's helpful to say. I'd like to see this happen, and this is why I want to see that happen. Because often we can kind of read between the lines a little bit further, but at least that's a pretty darn good base. It's pretty hard to earn, and there's no immediate plans to dethrone that base anytime soon. So, if there's any worry that this area would provide something better than the prestige base, I don't think it's too presumptuous to say no. Rest assured, your prestige base will still be the best base that you have in your arsenal.
Yeah, upgrading that thing was quite a feat. So I personally hope it doesn't get dethroned anytime soon. Yeah, it was a few sleepless nights as I was going through that tower.
Was last Lunar New Year? Was that when you did your big prestige push?
I did, yes. And I remember, so I found some old notes that, like, I think my most active day during that, because, I had all the auras going, right? And some of the auras had, like, I only had the 10 days of aura, so I wanted to make sure that I did the whole thing in that amount of time and balancing my candles and blah, blah, blah. It was just, spreadsheets on spreadsheets. But anyway, I think my most active day was something like 112 hunts, which is, only 8 hunts short of the absolute maximum that's even possible, So I was like,
much time for sleep
in the night. Yeah, like I'd pretty much wake up, almost every hour of the night to tap the horn. Obviously I missed a couple, but it was at the end of that week I was just drained. But hey, worth it, totally worth it.
And Malcolm saying kind of make there might be bases that are equivalent to a certain level of prestige base, and that's kind of what the jewel base was as well. And that might come out down the road as well. Should the need arise, there could be other bases that sort of are the equivalent of a prestige base at a certain level or something like that, but it probably won't be anytime soon that it's flat out made or irrelevant at some point in the adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Tivvy's just wondering what that mouse playing the saxophone is all about. Well, it's just an awfully fun looking mouse. I think that's what it's all about.
Oh man, that mouse is so great. I'll tell you, the name of that mouse is the Sultry Saxophonist mouse. And I might as well tell you the other names as well, because they're all really, really super fun. The one in the green dress is Baroness von Bean, and the one in the bottom right corner is the Jovial Jailer.
Just imagine what that bean juice tastes like that she's sipping on. I don't want to sample that. I'll try almost anything once, but the neon green bean juice, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a hard pass.
Yeah, Tim, that's that's a good example. Kind of, elaborating a little bit. Just, sometimes you want to scratch a different itch and arm a different base, right? Rather than having it be your go-to. And every once in a while, especially during event season, I feel like there's good opportunity to kind of utilize a base that has a special effect. Or there's a few areas that, have a little niche base you can put to use. Sandtail Desert's a great place to camp out with your desert heater if you've got one. That's always fun to kind of pull out while you're, depending where you are in the Sandtail Desert. So there's still some opportunities, but then it's just nice. You have your go-to heavy hitter when you want to make every hunt count, and it'll be a good piece of equipment to put use in the beanstalk, because there are a few. Some of those giant mice, they're a little bit tricky, so you might need all pull out the best of the best to be able to outwit them.
Absolutely. I will only be using my prestige base in the Bountiful Beanstalk. Absolutely.
Well, shall we try the trivia here? Are we ready?
Let's do it.
So we'll switch over to the trivia, and as always, if anybody in the chat gets the answer correct, Larry will have a reward. And if nobody in the chat gets it correct, which has seldom happened, we were close once, but somebody got it, rest assured there'll still be rewards for all. So I think they can still hear you, but I've lost you. Uh-oh. Yeah, they can't see you, but they can hear you more.
That's okay. I'm here in spirit.
Let me sound my horn. Can I get this dark magi? think I
I saw
did.
you missed one earlier in the stream.
We did it. It happened. What
Nice.
kind of mouse
Congratulations.
did the Mythweaver start out as? Nid has got all the wrong answers. There are no mice named after digits. That took no time at all. Daniel, I think, was the first legit guess in the chat. And I'm going to say it wasn't a guess. Daniel knew the answer is indeed a book-born mouse.
Well done.
And where is the answer? There we go. It is indeed a book-born mouse, and you might remember that from the pre-release. And so we thought that tied in well, seeing as we were taking a little preview of what the pre-release, what you might expect for the Bountiful Beanstalk. Here, I'll get the link in the chat as well, so you can click it for your clicking convenience. A little something to help out at the table of contents. Just a little
I don't
something.
even know what it is yet.
A baby mouse, says Gerald. Well, you know, probably technically might be true there. Probably all the mice start as baby mice at some point.
I'd rather not think about that, to be honest, but
They do seem to be, you know, reproducing at an alarming rate. There's an endless amount of them, so... Would need a bookborn. And that was kind of fun. One part of that mystery was you did have to go and track down a bookborn during the pre-release of the original Folklore Forest, and that kind of helped reveal a little bit of the story. There's a few, you know, fun journal entries to be read, and you know, so going back to the pre-release, what to expect with the Bountiful Beanstalk, we took a lot of inspiration from there. A lot of the things that we saw positive response from players, and we were able to put a little bit more time and polish into it to hopefully take it to the next level, make it even more fun.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
There you go. I'll bring you back.
I remember last year during the pre-release, I was just sort of like staring at Discord on my phone like all day and night, just watching it all unfold.
Oh yeah, and it's good to see too, you know, just kind of what's the current theories. Even it's good food for thought. Again, if we do a third thing like this, to kind of, you know, keep eyes on how it develops, to know how to craft the next one even better. And you see if maybe we might need an extra, you know, if a few days go by, we might, you know, maybe a post on social media or something to add an extra hint. But I have confidence hunters will crack the code pretty quick. Yeah, great. We can do a little bit of recap of you know, what we went over before we call it a stream here. You know, I can go through all these little slides again. The Bountiful Beanstalk, just kind of a reminder, hey, it's a Viceroy requirement. I give a little bit of a hint of what to expect to hunting on a seamlessly endless beanstalk in preparation for exploring a castle in the clouds. So it's one of those areas with tiers of cheese, but there's also phases to work through. So there's many zones within the area that you get to explore and use different cheese in different areas to try to accomplish what you're looking to accomplish. Get the most kind of bang for your hunt with each piece of cheese. We went over the pre-release as well. Get a lot of, if you're around for the last pre-release of the original Folklore Forest, it's going to feel familiar, but we tried to put a little bit more time, effort, and polish. That's, the original one was a kind of an idea that we wanted to test out, and seeing the positive feedback, that was a pretty strong signal to say, hey, we can kind of put a little bit more time into that and take it to the next level. So I'm excited. Like I said, Norm, I played through it again this morning, and I had an even bigger smile on my face. So it's really come together well.
Oh, that's great. And I want to actually just mention the names of those cheeses that you just showed. My stream is a bit delayed, but the green one is called Beanster. The blue one is Lavish Beanster, and the red one is Royal Beanster. Beanster.
It'd be interesting to see, without saying anything, if hunters can kind of guess. Like we said, it's tiers of cheese progression, which is, nothing unfamiliar to the world of MouseHunt. Can you kind of figure out which one's the tier 1, the tier 2, and the tier 3 version of each of the cheese? Hopefully, I think the art came together pretty well to make that apparent. Banana cheese. It does look a little bit in the shape of a banana, but some beans share a silhouette with a banana, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
You're sure it's supposed to be a green bean, says Alex, but it looks like a banana. If anything, the red one to me, has the most banana flair to it. I think the green one doesn't
Oh
have
yeah,
any
for sure.
banana tones.
Yeah. No, yeah. Of course, I never saw any of that before, and now that's all I'm going to be able to see. So thanks for that.
Sri, a bit off topic, but I wanted to say the new iOS widget looks great, works neat. Thank you to the dev team for working on it. Yeah, absolutely. Param put a lot of hard work, and Sana came up with a great design for it as well. That I was just kind of thrilled with seeing that the iterations of that go through. And I know, hey, I sound my horn a lot more with it now. I even find myself the app will be open, and I'll swipe it up, and I'll hit the widget for some reason. I don't know how that muscle memory has developed, but it's quite peculiar. Math wondering if you'll need vanilla beans for this. Alas, different kind of bean. Those are not magical. They're borderline sinister beans. So, we can put any fears aside. You won't have to go collect any vanilla beans here. Yeah, Alex, it's amazing what you can do when thousands of people try to solve a puzzle. That was kind of something that comes up in conversation here, Norm, is just kind of getting that right balance where it is meant to be something dozens, if not hundreds or thousands of people are all working on simultaneously. So
It's such an interesting challenge because if you design it for one person to be able to solve solo without any external contact, then it's going to be way too easy for thousands of people working together. So you got to find that middle ground where it's not so obscure that like you're just sort of banging your head against the wall trying to get it, but it's difficult enough that it will remain a challenge once people are pooling their resources. I mean, I remember last year there was a spreadsheet that they created where I think people were inputting all the different cheeses they tried in different locations, and I mean that's just such an enormous amount of effort and dedication, and it's wonderful, right? It's wonderful to see that. So, yeah, it's a tricky balance of making it tough enough to, get that experience. Versus like you make it too easy, then it's over too fast, and it's not as much fun, But hopefully we pulled it off. Find out soon.
Well, rest assured, there's a fun feedback mechanism built right in to while you're hunting, so I won't spoil the fun there because it is kind of fun the first time you see it. But it is a
Yeah, for
feedback
sure. It's not quite as
mechanism.
unforgiving as last time, because last time we didn't even tell you the trap effectiveness meter doesn't work for it. Like it was just like we gave you nothing, we gave you nothing at all.
Yeah.
So now there are more feedback mechanisms for
It's
sure.
kind of like hot and cold. Are you getting warmer? Oh, I'm getting warmer. Okay, a little closer to solving the next step. Karen, wonder if Big Jack has anything to do with the beanstalk, eh? Cows have milk, which could make cheesy queso. Well, I wonder if she has a fear of heights. I could see her having a fear of heights. I don't know. She seems well
Yeah.
grounded.
Well, another fun.
Oh, you're cutting out a bit, Norm. I think I might be losing you.
That original. Can you hear me?
There we go. Well, yeah, has the internet resolved itself? I think so. All right.
I don't
You've
know.
got a few extra
But
pixels now, but other than that, looking good.
but yeah, anyway, I was just saying that that original Beanstalk prototype that I made way back when, I used the Big Jack icon on the HUD just because it felt appropriate. But yeah, that didn't make it through.
Yeah, it's not Big Jack and the Beanstalk, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, great. And two, in case you're just joining us as well, just kind of go through everything one last little time here too, and went over, anything you might want to do to prepare for the Beanstalk. Requires the rank of Viceroy, so that'll be the title requirement. So if you're close, you might be able to get there in time if you want to be there on release day. But like I said, you don't have to fret. It's not going anywhere. It'll be there when you level up. It is a physical area. There's a few strong mice in that zone, and hey, right before it at the table of contents, you can earn the Charming Prince spot. So it's not a bad idea to have that trap. We've been playing the area using the Prince spots. That's the expectation going in a little bit. It never hurts too to have some powerful charms to kind of go after some of the even stronger mice, be able to kind of pull those out to make every hunt count. Whenever the Golden Quill is going to have a slight advantage in the area, well, actually, it's going to be advantageous, but you can play the whole area without it. It isn't like you're not allowed to go if you don't have it or anything like that, but you'll just be that much more powerful should you have that tool in your toolbox. Being in the Folklore Forest region, condensed creativity will have some strategic uses to be had. And just something to note as well, just in case, maybe you're not an Archduke, Archduchess yet. which you'll need to be to start the pre-release to earn the map piece. So down the road, when you get here, it'll be purchased from the cartographer for 1,000 Nobel prizes. So again, the pre-release will save you those 1,000 Nobel prizes. And we looked at a few absolutely delightful mice. I swear I can hear the saxophone when I look at that image. Okay.
Oh yeah. That was a particularly fun one to write the description for, let me tell you. Oh man.
Jericho has a fun idea for a skin horn to make it look like that saxophone right there. That's kind of mildly hilarious right there. I'm just thinking how you'd have to bend the hunter's horn to get it to be like a saxophone.
That's such a good idea.
Alex calling it the saxohorn. Great, yeah. We went trivia as well, in case you're just stopping in as well. There might even be one more teaser going on that slide, but we won't dwell on that too long. Anything else to add, Norm? Anything else you want to go over before we wrap up?
No, I think we covered it all, and we'll go into a few things more in depth, I'm sure, and pretty soon, a little bit closer to release. But I think we've got a nice little teaser of what to expect. I'm looking forward to seeing what people think of it.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for joining us, hunters. Enjoy the remainder of the spring egg hunt as well. Hopefully all your goals work out well in the egg hunt. That will be coming to a close. I'll use this handy new countdown timer. You got 10 days left in the egg hunt. And we did mention a little earlier, the pre-release coming for the Bountiful Beanstalk. We don't plan on releasing that while the egg hunt is still active. So, just kind of food for thought and put up there, especially if you're thinking about, if there's any of these, if there's any of these preparation steps you have your eye on, maybe the Charming Print Spot. Well, the egg hunt, those eggs give you some bonus loot. That might help you finish up your print spot just a little bit quicker, maybe. So maybe you can put the egg hunt to use while you're doing some of those preparation steps, if you're looking at any of them. Michelle, have a great weekend. Right back at you, Michelle. Thank you so much. Diamond, thanks. David, Norm, thanks for joining us, Diamond. Karen, we've been full of beans today. Thank you for planting some seeds. We got to take script recommendations. Hopefully we've planted the seed in your imagination of what might be in the beanstalk here. Alex, glad to hear you had fun. Spring egg hunt might be extended due to the Facebook issues. No plans for that, Kevin. It is already a fairly long event, and that was a little unfortunate that we had some difficulties there with Facebook. We had to work with them to resolve it. Fortunately, they did start getting back to us pretty quickly. So sometimes it's just a challenge. They're a large company. They got to deal with a lot of developers. So in some ways, I can understand there being a bit of a delay in communication and the back and forth there. But hopefully they're able to, or fortunately they're able to work with us relatively quickly at the end there. So it was a few days, but at least at the moment, there's no plan to extend the egg hunt due to that. You sure can't wait for the beanstalk? Me neither. I'm having fun playing it already. I've been smiling while playing through it. I hope hunters all have a smile on their face as well. Castle asking, do we need to farm more Nobel prizes for end game players? So, we try to summarize or at least give a strong, hint at what you could do to prepare. And the only thing is, hey, if you don't get the map piece during that pre-release, you're going to need those 1,000 Nobel prizes to get it. The Charming Print Spot costs a number of Nobel prizes, but once you have that, you're good. When you arrive at the area, hopefully I'm not out of line here saying this, you won't need to spend any Nobel prizes at the area itself. That said, there's those opuses you can buy, so if you are looking to get some good charms, you could, be spending them buying some opuses.
Yeah, absolutely. None of those resources have a direct use in the area, but obviously, yeah, in terms of preparation, they're very useful.
I got 45 seconds till my next hunt. I think we should wait 45 seconds, Norm. I gotta see what I get.
Yeah, that's fair.
My curses are still lifted. I'm good to go. I got 5 more shattering charms.
Oh, man. How much gold do you have left?
I ran out of gold yesterday when I made shattering charms at essences. I crafted 50 at curry essence. Wow. And I'm getting a few shattering eggs going now. This is suspense. Any guesses? Do you think I'm gonna get back-to-back Dark Magies? Magi?
Well, we'll see if the DLU is with you.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Do you like MouseHunt?
Is that Giorgio I
Heyo.
hear?
I wonder what's this gonna do to the stream. Oh, it didn't slice in. Oh, because you're full screen, of course.
I can see what I can do.
No,
don't-
no, I mean, if you unclick Norm's face in Discord, does it like make a weird multi-grid situation?
Yeah, that'd be a grid. You have your camera off anyway, though.
Oh, or do I?
There you go. Franco's chilling out down there, too.
Frank, yeah, we've been in here the whole time. Nice. Just bring him on stage, make him expose himself.
Do you want to say hi, Franco?
Franco, you can join.
He hasn't
Hey, you
raised
got
his
it.
hands. He can see if he can come on. He's got the green light.
Not
Nice,
exposing
nice.
myself.
Nice, nice.
Dave, you got it. I know I'm a bit delayed here, but you caught the Dark Magi.
Dave,
I was
you caught
more in
the-
the audience.
Yes, I did. I got the Dark
many
Magi.
eggs
Back to
do you
back.
have?
Nice. There you go.
Oh, here
There
it
you
comes.
go.
Oh, look at that.
Whole
Oh, there
gang's
we
here.
Nice.
Hello, Feedback Friday viewers. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. So does the rest of the team.
You're all wonderful.
Hey.
Wondrous.
Oh, Dark Flask asking if the average player base is Viceroy. There are a number of Viceroys, that's for sure. I don't have that offhand. That report no longer works. It used to be easy to look up, but that broke a while ago. Needless to say, there's quite a few
Which
Viceroys.
report,
Quite a few, yeah, I imagine.
oh, right. Yeah, that's long gone. Foreclosure.
The Giorgio invasion has expanded. Look at that.
Yes, I've recruited more.
I feel like disproportionately large now, though, or something. Like I'm a giant here.
The
now,
overseer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that.
Go
That's
step
well.
on it.
Yeah.
Well, anything else anybody wants to add before we wrap up? Any sentiments? Any questions?
No.
Beans.
Beans.
Yes.
Beans.
The magical fruit. The more you eat,
The more you beans.
The more you sound your horn.
Nice. The more you toot your horn.
Yeah, toot your horn. Oh dear.
beans, they go to the heart. The more you eat, the more you...
Toot your horn.
All right. Well, I think we should wrap things up here, hunters. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me, for joining us, Norm.
Beans.
Thanks
Good
for your time
afternoon,
today, Norm, to
weekend.
go over the Bountiful Beanstalk. I'm trying to wrap things up before we get too deep into the world of flatulence-related humor.
You're gonna have to just start muting us, I think. Yeah, no, my pleasure. My pleasure. I've been looking forward to the opportunity to share this knowledge with everyone. I've been entrenched in it for the last few months, so it's nice to finally share it with the world.
Great. Well, again, thanks for joining us, hunters. We'll catch you next time. I feel like I'm going to just go ahead and warn you all that they'll still be able to hear you while this outro slide is up. So everybody on their best behavior, please. They won't be able to hear me, but just you. The microphone's is gone, but the desktop audio's there. So
That's a bad situation, Dave.
see, I'm just going to look where the kick button is on this ahead of time, just in case. All right. Cool.
I'll see myself out.
All right, thank you for joining us, hunters. We'll catch you next time. It'll probably be Jacob doing an art stream next week, and then when the pre-release is live, we'll probably do another Beanstalk related feedback Friday, kind of similar to what we did for the original release of the Folklore Forest. So look forward to seeing all there as well. Have a fantastic weekend. Happy hunting. Enjoy the spring egg hunt, and I'll catch you next time.
Bye. When it launches, I'll be eating beans. Will you?
Hey, wait, can you play
No.
the trap song? But we'll do a Beans version of it.
Have you ever gave up hope?
You're
Looking
a
for a way
beans.
to
You're a
cope.
beans.
All alone in a castle
Yeah.
by yourself.
Bean,
Okay.
bean, bean.
No,
Just
when
when
you were
you think
made
you're
to
beans.
looking like a royal fool. If you
Turns out
only
you
had
never
someone
beans.
to help.
You know,
I'll
we
just
can
re-record it.
cans of beans would be a good convertible.
We
little
got to clean these rodents out. There ain't no way we're gonna let them run this place. I'll show them what this king's about.
Probably a good idea.
Wait, that's the wrong song.
Yeah.
It
How many tiny platinum bars do you need to make the bean can opener?
Here's what I propose we do.
All of them.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I have
count
to
on
every
you.
platinum bar. Yeah.
Give you all the
How much
cheese that
gold
you
for
could
that?
ever
20%?
want. If
Do
you
it, you
wanna
can
be your best,
Yeah.
put your trap up to the test. Buy some super brie and watch the
This
suckers
isn't the
come.
bean song. that I was-
Yeah, beans.
Oh, yeah.
Are there super beans? In the Beanstalk?
Rolling out.
Comes in a can. You kind of convert it.
Comes in the game.
You can heat open and use it. That secret level you can get to.
Larry is a co-op partner, and you go on adventures, and he eats beans the whole time.
Dude, it's a secret.